Good morning. It is 11:10 on April 28th. It is Sunday, and I'm grading papers for my second semester writing students. Um, I got started before remembering that I said I would use screen capture recording while I'm grading. Old habits. So, last time I graded, I said that I would no longer go in alphabetical order when I grade, that I was trying to establish some kind of a neutral mood, whatever that means. So I said that I was going to choose several kind of middle of the road students or students who generally turn in kind of average work um, so that I don't have, like, for instance, starting in alphabetical order, the student who pops up first, sometimes he frustrates me because he doesn't follow instructions. And I know that sounds elementary, but there's we learn these methods, and he doesn't use those methods to um, to produce his best work. He'll have all the elements there, or most of them. He just doesn't put them in an order that makes sense. And this is every essay. And so last time I said that I would start with some other middle of the road students, and I forgot, and I started with his. Um, I wouldn't say I'm frustrated, more like it's like, oh God, here we go again kind of thing. But that's okay because I did, after grading his, I went through and picked several middle of the road students, and then also some of my higher performing students, and then a couple of my lower performing students who are showing a lot of growth. Um, I redacted their names in their essays so that I won't feel terrible about well, obviously I'm going to upload this video to my blog, and I don't want to implicate them in any way. So, this one that I graded, I just have a couple of comments to make about the quality and the tone of the feedback I give. This is, it's so strange that because I'm recording and because I'll be sharing this recording with you, I have this weird sense of, like, an extra sense of accountability. Um, like, for instance, when I thought about what I'd already written, I was thinking, is that too familiar? Is it too casual? Is it enough? Is it too much? Did I do any lexical hedging to soften my tone? Um, I wish I had been recording when I graded it originally because there was a lot of backspacing, um, trying to find a tone that he would respond to. For instance, I haven't changed this one yet, and I don't know if I'm going to, but I wrote, Joe, why are you so stubborn? I gave you a graphic and a planner that model the structure of a Rogerian essay, but you did your own thing. Why? If you'd followed the format, you'd see what you're missing, e.g., clear statement of opposing position and validation of the opposing position. You also might have caught the language that makes it clear that you're seeking to win rather than to understand, and you probably would have seen the bias in having so much more information in defense of legalization than the opposing view. Okay, I'm chill, I'm chill. On a positive note, you do cover most of the arguments for legalization of marijuana. So, aside from the fact that he wrote about the legalization of marijuana, which is a little bit annoying because it's overdone, um, I guess this feedback might show my, like, it feels honest. And I'm reminded of the, who was it that Knobloch quoted in her article? Let me see if I can find that. Just a minute. Bear with me for just a minute. This is important. not block, not block, not block. Let's see. We're going. Okay, Tompkins. Knobloch talks about an article that Tompkins wrote, Me and My Shadow, in which she highlights the intersections between her personal life and her professional life, arguing that her desire to separate the two was quite simply a matter of academic conditioning. I'm going to highlight that because I think I want to read it later. Whenever I was writing this feedback, it made me think of Tompkins, because she says, the criticism I would like to write she explains, would always take off from personal experience, would always be a chronicle of my hours and days, would speak in a voice which can talk about everything. That's how I feel sometimes when I'm writing feedback on students' essays, and I wonder, like, what tone is appropriate? Is it more honest? Is it more valuable if I speak or if I write their feedback in the same tone that I speak to them in class, or because there's less context? For instance, Joe will read my feedback in my voice. He knows me. He's known me all semester. And he knows that I don't think he would perceive it as hypercritical. But if, say, our writing program director, Nancy Wilson, read this, I wonder what she would think. I wonder what you'll think. Will you think this is, too familiar or too informal? What should feedback look like? I want to say that Joe should get some consistency from me. He should be able to hear my voice and my feedback. It'll be more meaningful to him. There are other comments that I made on this paper that I wonder, like I said, I did some backspacing. I wonder if he'll connect with it as if he would if he were standing in front of me and we were having this conversation. Like this seems kind of stiff. In MLA, usually the author's last name and the page number go here. See al.purdue.edu or the MLA section in Easy Writer. And then I kind of go into a more, I guess, feeling myself. But it took me like 15 minutes, maybe 20 minutes, to get these comments right. And part of that time I was thinking about my viewer of this video, like holding myself, like how accountable am I for the tone that my feedback takes? So what are you going to think about it? Which I don't know how important that is. Anyways, end rant. This is what's on my mind. These are my material circumstances. So to recap, I graded Joe's first because I forgot that I said last time and the time before that that I would select a few other students to read first to set a mood. And I really have no idea if that'll work because I keep forgetting to try it. But so I started out with a little bit of, I guess I took an attitude with Joe. But I don't think that he'll be offended in any way. I really want to ask them sometimes, like, how do you feel about the feedback I give you? And maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll just add a little question to their evaluations or ask them to do a free write where they talk about my feedback, because it would be good to know. Obviously, my goal is to help them improve their writing and learn something about themselves, their writing selves. So that's it. I'm going to grade um, a handful of essays that I picked out with the screen capture running. Um, and then I will talk about them more later, um, depending on what comes up. I'm alone this morning. My husband's working. My daughter is at a sleepover. My son will probably sleep until afternoon because he isn't feeling well and stayed up very late. So I should be productive. Have my coffee, and I'm ready to get back to work. Hmm. Say elementary without saying. Hmm. I wonder if anybody's talking about using emojis in student feedback. Why do I use emojis in student feedback? Huh. I should explore that. Hmm. Is it okay to say this? How will Cameron take it? Mm, mm. I might I might delete this later, but it feels honest. All right, I'm gonna take a break. Feedback. Okay, I'm back. I'm gonna grade a couple more, just because I feel like I can get enough data to analyze material circumstances, and just a couple more. Um, you probably see the point already. So I'll get back to it. Just a couple more. This is a very well written essay. I'm proud of her. You know, it's well written when most of the feedback is engaging in conversation as opposed to pointing out mistakes or things that she could work on. I can't really think of anything that she should work on for this essay. Okay, I remember seeing this draft. This student asked me for feedback on a draft, and I mentioned that although I thought it was very well written, um, solid reasoning, good exploration of positions, he didn't really follow the suggested format. And I'd say it's more than really a suggestion. It was more of a this is the best structure for a Rogerian method essay. Um, and we had a conversation about his priorities. He had other things coming up, and I sensed that. And so I told him, you're doing really well in the class. If you need to be done with this essay and want to turn it in as is, feel free to do so. So let's see if he did that. Yeah, he kept it as it was. I told him that I thought this belonged in separate paragraphs later in the essay. Back. This was awkward. Every essay he's turned in has been remarkably on par with some graduate writing, some of the more informal graduate writing that I've seen and that I've done. And so, I could probably find several, minor errors, but I don't think those deserve comment. Like, it's just not, that's not how I want to. I don't think that's what he would want or what he would appreciate most. So I'm just going to ask him, what does he need from me? Um, he didn't, he has been turning in excellent work all semester, but I have seen growth. Um, and so I'm feeling useful with him, but I don't know. I don't know how to help him or if he needs help. Okay, I think I'm gonna call it. Um, I'll probably continue to grade, but maybe not on record. I don't want you to have to sit through 2, 3, 4 hours of me grading. Um, I'm gonna think of, I said that after every session I would analyze um, how my material circumstances affect my writing, but what I'm finding is that I don't always know um, immediately. Sometimes it takes a minute for it to sink in. And by a minute, I mean a day or a week. So hopefully I'll have some time soon to to spend in just thinking about my writing and how all these things that have these circumstances new and changing and the same old, how they affect my writing. And I keep saying affect my writing, but I need to figure out, what do I mean by that? I think that's an important question, because um, I can't move on to making productive scholarship of my embodied knowledge without knowing um, what does the symbolic embodied knowledge mean? What part of my writing am I talking about? Um, what does writing include? Does it include um, thinking about having conversations, internally with others' writings? Does this count? This grading, providing feedback on students' papers, what counts? So those are some things that I need to think about. So until next time.